back to Desperate in Cleveland, where the Browns have won a game! That's right, folks. The Cleveland Browns have won their first game of the season. And in this episode, episode number 4, we're going to do a salute to Clint Eastwood by pointing out the good, the bad, and the ugly of Sunday's games. First off, we'll start with the good. And obviously the first part that the Browns did well, once again, was Peyton Hillis.
Yes.
Another game, over 100 yards, a touchdown, basically willed the Browns to victory in the fourth quarter when it looked like they might blow it again.
Yes.
What else did you see from him?
Well, I mean, it's crucial. Not only are the Browns rushing for 100 yards, in back-to-back games, but they've done it on two relatively good defenses. The Ravens defense is obviously one of the best in the league, and the Bengals defense was thought to be one of the up-and-coming defenses. It's supposed to be really good with Robert Gaithers and Ray Malalaga and these guys. And they're a tough defense, so the fact that we've been able to rush for 100 yards in back-to-back games was great.
And coming up next week, the Cleveland Browns will take on the Atlanta Falcons, which is another good team. They've knocked off the Saints already this year. I believe their record is somewhere in the 3-1 range. Off to another good start. Another tough defense to go against. But the Falcons' defense isn't as good as the Bengals or the Ravens, so you would think Hills would have another big game.
Yeah, and he's the first Browns running back to score 4 consecutive touchdowns in 4 games since Greg Pruitt way back in the 70s. So, I mean, the running game is good.
That was the good, now on to the bad. In every game, there's always some good and bad parts, no matter if you win or lose. The first bad point for you was?
Eric Wright. This guy is supposed to be our number 1 corner, and again, granted Cincinnati has 3 pretty decent wide receivers.
Yeah.
You got Terrell Owens, you got Chad Ochocinco, and Jordan Shipley is going to be a good wide receiver for them before he got hurt, obviously. But, Terrell Owens is obviously on the waning parts of his career, but he's a very big physical wide receiver, and it just seems like Eric Wright is overmatched. But when he was covering him, he would get turned around, he didn't look like he knew what he was doing, and he's getting beat on routes that he shouldn't be getting beat on, and that's what's the most upsetting part about it, I think.
But Mangini has maintained his confidence in him. Obviously, he kept him in the starting lineup. He continued to play him through the game. And I noticed, for the most part, he put him on Ochocinco, who was the smaller receiver out of the two. However, there were times when he was matched up on Owens, and Owens would run a slant pattern across the middle, and he would simply just get beat because Owens was too big, too fast, and he couldn't keep up with him. And the second bad part that we both agreed on for this game was the wide receiver play. And we sound like a broken record because we talked about this last week as well, but the wide receivers have to create separation. They have to run crisper routes. I don't know, because you're not physically dominant enough, like a Terrell Owens or someone, that you can just physically outman them jumping up for the ball. So you have to do something. Chancey Stuckey, a better game. He had a couple catches.
I think he had 4 or 5 catches for about 60 yards, which is nice.
And the pass that hit Masqua in the face, right in the face mask. I mean, was that, he looked like he was surprised that the ball was there that early. Was that just a timing thing, or why couldn't he reel that in?
Well, basically, we forgot to put stickum on his hands for this game, so he just thought if he caught it in between the bars on his face mask, it'd be a first down.
And sometimes that does work.
Hey, it does.
On the Pee Wee field.
Yes, but
maybe not so much in the NFL. But
it's basically the Browns wide receivers to this point in time have been pathetic. Keep in mind that Josh Cribbs does a lot covering special teams, wide receiver, running back, blah, blah, blah. He does a ton of stuff on the field, but not getting any production out of your wide receivers. Thank God we signed Ben Watson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Because he comes through time and again, and somehow he got flagged for jumping into the stands after the touchdown.
I've never seen that before. There's a Lambeau leap. I actually watched the Chargers caught a touchdown pass.
It seems like that's a common thing now in the NFL to jump to the stands. Why the Browns are getting flagged for it, I don't know.
The Browns are ugly. People hate them.
And that's a perfect segue into our last segment, the ugly. Now, many ugly points in this game. The ugliest point to me was T.J. Ward's hit on Jordan Shipley in the end zone. Now, this happened after Shipley. This happened in the fourth quarter. This happened after Shipley had dropped the ball fell to the ground, and T.J. Ward came in and used the helmet-to-helmet contact.
Clobbered him.
Automatic first down. You like this. Why did you like this?
I like this because, for once, the Browns' defense was actually initiating the punishment, which is something that, for a long period of time, that's what the Browns get, is just punishment, I harken back to the preseason when Ndamukong Suh ripped Jake Delhomme's head off and was spitting down his throat. So, for once, TJ Ward, that's why we drafted him. We wanted a hard-hitting safety and the Roy Williams, Bob Sanders type of guy that can cover but can also hit. So, in that regard, I'm very happy to see him playing aggressive, but you have to be smarter than that and know that you could have cost your team a win there. So,
but you like the hit for the most part. You don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, it's aggressive football play.
It's aggressive. It's aggressively stupid is what it is, because that was a play on third down, fourth quarter. You're barely winning. They're marching it down the field, and he hits a defenseless receiver on third down, gives him automatic first down. Stupid play. You cannot lead with your helmet. That's a rule that they're very touchy about in the NFL. You just can't do it. I know you're a rookie. You got to be smarter than that. My second ugly point of the game was the Browns cornerback play, but not Eric Wright. I'm talking about Sheldon Brown. The one play, he went to cover Terrell Owens. The ball's up in the air, and Sheldon Brown falls down. Why he did this, I don't know. What tripped him? Maybe it was the ghost of Cleveland Browns Stadium. But it resulted in a long touchdown pass play from Carson Palmer to Terrell Owens, both of which were on our opposing players' fantasy teams. So it not only cost the Browns, but it cost us as well.
It cost me a win.
What happened to Sheldon Brown there?
Well, apparently Terrell Owens has an invisible force field around him that keeps defenders off him like yours keeps women off of you. Mm-hmm. So,
And now we come to the ugly of uglies. After the game, you may have seen on the sideline Coach Eric Mangini walking out there, and by God,
it tickled my heart.
He smiled.
Yes, he did.
Just to see you smile, I'd do anything.
And every time Eric Mangini smiles, a little part of me dies. I'm glad they won, but oh God, Eric, just don't smile.
Yeah, I like it better when he doesn't show any emotion and everybody's like, Eric Mangini is the emotionless king.
And that'll do it for today's episode of Desperate in Cleveland. Tune in next week. Hopefully we'll be talking about another Browns win. That would be 2 in a row. Can we do it?
More pathetic.
Stay desperate.